finally here, the opening weekend of the Premier League season. Two giants of English football ready to renew one of the greatest rivalries of the modern era. Good afternoon and welcome to Super Sunday. I'm Richard Keys alongside Andy Gray. And Andy, what a way to kick things off.
You couldn't ask for more, Richard. Two massive clubs, new faces, fresh hope, and plenty of pressure.
It's all set at Old Trafford. Let's get straight to the action. Manchester United versus Arsenal live next.
We are finally here live in the matchup here for Old Trafford as Manchester United will play the Arsenal. There's a lot to play for in this matchup in the first game of the season. What a way to kick off the Premier League season to have this sort of game happen, of course, on your screens, because Man United, however, and Arsenal are two big clubs, big football teams, have great history out of each other through the years. Look at that, Sir Alex Ferguson's, the Arsene Wenger's, that longevity of those managers battled each other through the years. You know, Thierry Henry, Ruud van Nistelrooy, Rooney, Ronaldo, and also especially playing in this match at Ronaldo, still playing at the age of 40 at Man United. And also you've got many great names like Vieira versus the Roy Keanes. So many real involved in this sort of rivalry matchup here. And now the two teams now shake hands, of course, before they get straight into kickoff underway here for, obviously, for this afternoon's game. And the two teams are ready, definitely for Ruben Almiron's side. He is ready also for this game as well. And let's see who will come up on top between Man United and also, obviously, Arsenal. So for Man United, however, for their lineup here in this game, we do have Andre Onana in goal. We've got obviously Lisandro Martinez, De Ligt as well. Obviously we've got obviously Mazziari and also obviously Euro, Bruno Fernandes the captain, Brian Bremo, obviously Marcus Rashford and Cristiano Ronaldo. As for Arsenal, however, for Mikel Arteta's men, goalkeeper David Raya. We also got here Saliba, Gabriel, Lewis Skelly and Timber. We've got Captain Odegaard and also Zubimendi, Declan Rice, Gyökeres, Saka and also Trossard as well. Very strong team. And we see what happens, of course, here when the two teams play each other for this match. So here we go. Arsenal v Man United. Going to be up for it, of course, here. And I can't wait for it. Here we go. Kickoff's underway. Arsenal kick things off between Man United here. And here we go. And now here's to Trossard. Now Odegaard now. And now all the way there to Timber. Okay, that's going to be a throw now, by the way. Looks like Arsenal's throw here. Now Bukayo Saka will take the throw. Now Saka now, all the way to pass it back now to Onana. And now is Mazziari. Now here's Ugarte. Now to Ronaldo. Great pass there now to Bremo now for Manchester United. Now Bremo's through. It could be 1-0 United maybe here. It could be a sweaty. He could have gone Ronaldo, but good defending there, cover there. Looks like from Gabriel there to stop that from sweat passing to Ronaldo. And great defending there, great cover there from him. And now here's Odegaard now. Here's Saliba for Arsenal. Now here's to Zubimendi now. And also the player to watch, of course, Cristiano Ronaldo, 40 years of age. And he can still play at the greatest, highest stages of football. And he's got that ability to carry on playing. Not any other players could not be fit enough to play at 40. Nobody wouldn't. And Ronaldo's the only guy who can do that. Now Odegaard now. Gyökeres has a shot and almost a chance there. And that was nearly a goal, but saved there from Andre Onana. Yeah, Ronaldo's obviously played so many appearances against Arsenal through the years, especially in 2003 when Arsenal were invincibles that season. They drew 0-0 at Old Trafford that time. And that was Ronaldo's first ever time he actually played against Arsenal in this rivalry for the last, 22 years ago, in fact. A young Ronaldo came through the scenes and obviously during his career done so well at Man United, Real Madrid, you name it. And now here's Lewis Skelly now. Cross into the box here now. Great cover there now to Onana. Now Ronaldo. Now here's Zubimendi. Now here's to Lewis Skelly. Now here's to Declan Rice. Now Zubimendi now the ball. Now Skelly. Now Euro now. Good defending there from him now. Here's Bremo. Nearly, let's say, 10 minutes to go till half time, by the way. Now Trossard looking for options here. Great defending now. Euro. Now De Ligt. Back to Onana. Whistle is probably going to blow in a minute, by the way. Obviously for half time, but no goals scored so far. Very even between the two. And now thrown here now for Man United. Abramo will take it. Now here's to Euro. Now Abramo. Now Abramo now is Ugarte. Now Declan Rice. Now is Odegaard. And now almost nearly over, by the way, for Marcus Rashford. Now nearly over now for half time. And that is going to be that for half time, ladies and gentlemen. No goal scored at the break. And I've got to say that great ability in terms of how they've played, of course. Especially how both teams are not really been trying to get themselves goals this first half. And maybe the second half it could do. As the half time score is Man United 0, Arsenal 0. We're back for the second half, and here we go for the match-up between Manchester United and Arsenal. As match day 1, of course, no goals scored in the first half though, but could United or Arsenal get anything out of the second half? And now Mameno. Now here's Declan Rice. Now here's all the way to Gyökeres now. Gyökeres now all the way to Bukayo Saka. Saka now on the attack. Cross in the box here, Gyökeres! Oh, saved there from Onana, the goalkeeper. Now Ronaldo. Now Ronaldo lost the ball now. Gabriel won the ball back for Arsenal. Now back to Cristiano Ronaldo. The greatest player of all times on the attack here now for Manchester United. And it's gone wide. And now definitely out, of course, to a goal kick here for Arsenal. Now we've got Madueke coming onto the pitch, by the way, as Bukayo Saka will come off the field as a substitute in for Arsenal. And I'll tell you, it does take him off the pitch. And now we get straight now into this second half. Obviously, we know that we played obviously 10 minutes already for the second half, and not much happening apart from Ronaldo scuffed that ball wide. But now here's to Madueke now for Arsenal. Looking for options in the box maybe. Cross. Gyökeres, no. Mazziari now. Now to Ugarte. Now Ugarte now to the ball. Now it's a chance for, Bremer right there, the shoot. But right there to the keeper's hands. Now Timber. Now it's Odegaard. Now it's Madueke. Now here's Declan Rice. Great pass down for Gyökeres. On the attack here now. Gyökeres now. He's through. Could be 1-0 Arsenal. And oh my god, that could have been a goal there. The best chance of the game there for Gyökeres. And now Onana will take the goal kick here for Manchester United. Onana will take the goal kick. Let's see how the defending champions of the Premier League do here. They are level in this game, goalless. Not really, you can't split the two between Arsenal and Manchester United. You know the history between the two goes way back from the Fergusons, the Wengers as well. You know the Vieiras and Roy Keanes and so many other greats through the past. Now here's Madueke now. Crossing the box here to Declan Rice, and it's gone to the keeper's hands there nicely to Onana. Now here's the De Ligt. All the way there to Ronaldo. Now Declan Rice. Now here's to Madueke now. Cross in, maybe. No, he didn't cross it. He went for the shot instead rather than. Okay, we have here Fernandes will come off the field. And Meno will come on the field here. He's the captain, by the way, funny enough. He's a young boy at the age of 20 years of age. And he's been known as being captain for the next 5 minutes for Ruben Alma inside. Now here's Bryan Abramo now. No, we lost it now to Lewis Skelly now for Arsenal. Now Skelly. Now to Saliba. Odegaard. Now Timber. Now Madueke. Now looking for options here now. Now I've got 2 minutes left until the end of the game, by the way. 2 minutes left, and it might be 0-0, by the way. It might have to go out as. Now Chana. Now to Ronaldo, and that's full time. And that will mean that these two teams will share a point in the first league game of the Premier League season of the 2026 campaign. No goals scored at Old Trafford. It was very, very poor it was been in terms of the game. Not much going on, as Cristiano Ronaldo, of course, did not get any, let's say, chances on target. Only 2 attempts, though. As a full-time score at Old Trafford, by the way, here ends at the match-up at the Theatre of Dreams as Man United 0, Arsenal 0 at full-time.
So, full-time at Old Trafford, Manchester United 0, Arsenal 0. No goals, but certainly no shortage of effort or drama. Andy Gray alongside me. Andy, how do you sum that one up? Well, Richard, it had everything except the finishing touch, didn't it? Both sides had their moments. Arsenal looked sharper in possession. United had a couple of big chances late on, but neither could take control of it. And credit to both keepers, they were outstanding when called upon. Yeah, and that's what it came down to in the end. Fine margins, strong defending, and perhaps a little bit of early season rust. But, as you said, plenty of positives to build on for both managers. Right then, that's how it ended here, but it's been a busy opening weekend across the Premier League. Let's take a look at the other results and highlights from the first round of matches.
And then obviously Liverpool got themselves a nice chance, of course, to score against Bournemouth's team as Darwin Núñez right there shoots and he places that into that goal as Liverpool, the Reds, take themselves in the lead in the game. First goal of the brand new Premier League season as Darwin Núñez did very, very well to beat through the defenders of Bournemouth to put that ball into the back of the net. And then, however, Núñez again, another great run for Liverpool, and he sweated it there to Salah, and then Salah got there absolutely nice and comfortable as he scores that ball right into the back of the net to make it 2-0. And then Cody Gakpo again, nice run here, the Dutch forward here for Liverpool, goes for a shot, hits it into the back of the net to now extend the lead here by 3-0, as what an amazing goal there from Cody Gakpo for the Reds of Liverpool in the match, as Bournemouth, of course, not been great so far. They've not been, as now there's 3 goals in the matchup, and the keeper, of course, could not obviously stop that one, Neto. And then, however, Liverpool, nice little switch pass there to Darwin Núñez, and then Núñez there hits it, and a 4th goal right there was scored right there, absolutely unbelievably, as Darwin Núñez really done absolutely fantastically well right there for Liverpool to try and get that ball past the keeper, and that was nice and comfortable right there into the top corner. And then, however, after that, there's another goal scored in the game here for Liverpool to make it 5-0 within the first half. 4 goals have been scored already in the first half, but in almost half time, another goal again for Liverpool to make it all 5. How could a team like Liverpool, anybody, score 5 goals in the first half of a Premier League matchup? Bournemouth, of course, is returning back to the Premier League for the first time in 6 years, have been absolutely dreadful in this matchup. And then, however, again in the second half, Liverpool absolutely immense in the matchup. Darwin Núñez crosses it in to Sabitzer, and he makes it 6-0 to Liverpool against a newly promoted side of Bournemouth in this matchup here, as Bournemouth have been absolutely weak and poor they've been throughout the whole game, and Liverpool's, let's say, real talent, of course, and also that real, let's say, fight in the matchup was a lot for Liverpool at home to really content with that 6-0 victory over Bournemouth. Darwin Núñez wins the match ball. Liverpool fans go home happy as the full-time score ends. Liverpool 6, Bournemouth 0. Perfect cross there from Aston Villa to get themselves that first opening goal, as what a nice set piece, a corner cross in all the way to Pau Torres, as Aston Villa lead the game by 1-0 in the match. And then obviously Newcastle obviously lost the ball as Aston Villa, nice little counter attack here, really ran through past a few defenders of Newcastle, and then Watkins put the ball right past the keeper there, as now it's 2-0 to the villains of Aston Villa, as Ollie Watkins, nice little counter press, 1v1 to the keeper, and now brilliant finish and a brilliant goal, and Villa lead the game by 2-0. And then, however, Newcastle really done quite well in the matchup, by the way, and they did very, very impressive as Isak right there cuts it in all the way to Anthony Gordon. And then Newcastle have done it absolutely amazingly right there, by the way, as now it's 2-1. 2 obviously for Aston Villa, however, but Newcastle got a goal back in the match, and now it's 2-1. And then, however, Newcastle carried on fighting and got another goal, by the way, against Aston Villa as Bruno Guimaraes hits that ball into the back of the net to make it 2-2. As unbelievable finish there from Bruno Guimaraes for the Magpies. And then, however, Newcastle really pushing through, past there from Isak all the way to Joelinton. And then Joelinton got himself a real goal into the back of the net, into the top corner to make it 3-2. As an unbelievable great run for Joelinton all the way for himself to go 1v1 to the keeper, as now it's 3-1 to the Magpies of Newcastle. And then, however, a nice little pass there from Guimaraes to Alexander Isak, and now he took himself all the way 1v1 to the keeper to get himself that goal. But however, he passed the ball sweatily to Harvey Barnes instead to get that pass into the back of the net, and that was a nice goal there from Barnes. Great assist there from Isak, as now Newcastle United, of course, make it in the matchup 4-2 in the game. Unbelievable finish, unbelievable goal, nice assist there from Isak, and Newcastle have got themselves that 4th goal and also that victory also in the match. And the score is a score as Newcastle United have got themselves that massive 3 points away from home against Unai Emery's Aston Villa. Absolute superb football from the Magpies of Newcastle. They did very, very well to travel down to Birmingham and get that win as well, especially Harvey Barnes also on that score sheet as well in the matchup for this afternoon, as it ends Villa 2, Newcastle 4. And then Leicester City got themselves that real first nice counter-attack here over the goalkeeper as Sargent puts that ball in the top corner to make Leicester lead the game by 1-0 in the matchup. What a goal right there from the captain and the leader for Leicester City, as Leicester, the Foxes, lead the game by 1-0. Then Gerald Bowen, of course, will counter-attack 1v1 to the goalkeeper, and he hit that ball right past Schmeichel, and now Gerald Bowen makes it 1 apiece in the matchup, as Leicester City won, and also as well West Ham won, and Graham Potter's men will be very happy about that one, as Gerald Bowen scores, and now it's 1 apiece. And Leicester City and West Ham United have both shared a big point out of each other on match day 1 of the Premier League, as both teams could not get anything out of each other in the matchup. But as of obviously for Leicester, for Josh Sargent, replacing and fulfilling the boots of the ex-player of Jamie Vardy, who scored loads of goals through the years and won them the Premier League in 2015-2016. He left during the summer and obviously replaced by Josh Sargent as a new signing from Norwich. Did very, very well in the game here as it ends 1-1. And then nice little counter-attack here from Matoma there for Brighton. Pass the ball to Danny Welbeck and he cuts it in nicely as Brighton Hove Albion scored the first goal in the matchup here this afternoon by a goal from that man right there, Danny Welbeck. Danny Wells gets himself on the score sheet to put Brighton in the lead against the champions from the Championship last season, who've been promoted to the Premier League, Fulham. And then obviously Fulham really carried on fighting, of course, as Alex Iwobi, obviously for Fulham, got themselves that massive danger chance, of course, as Andres Pereira as well, got the ball all the way to Raul Jimenez. And then Raul Jimenez shoots as well, and he put that ball into the back of the net to make sure Fulham are now level in the game, and now it's 1 apiece. And the Brighton fans, of course, share a point against Fulham here at their first game of the Premier League season for the 2026 campaign. Fulham really did very well, by the way, in their first top flight game for the first time in 12 years. as Raul Jimenez was on the score sheet for Fulham, and that was an absolutely perfect, let's say, draw for both sides, especially Fulham in their first season back in the Premier League, as it ends Brighton 1, Fulham 1 at full time here this afternoon. And now a nice little counter-attack here from Son Heung-min for Tottenham, really pushing through here to Kulusevski. Nice little sweaty pass there to Harry Kane to get that finish, as Tottenham Hotspur lead the game by 1-0 against Sheffield United. And then, however, let's say Tottenham really carried on, of course, continuing the fight against Sheffield United, as Diaz lost the ball to Bissouma. Kane obviously had the ball, and a nice little pass there to Kulusevski to put that into the top corner. And now Spurs now extend the lead by 2-0 against Sheffield United in the match. And then Spurs, of course, really pushing through, as Harry Kane got himself another goal in the matchup to extend it to make it 3-0 against Sheffield United. What an amazing strike, and what an amazing finish right there for him, as Tottenham, of course, made it 3. And then Tottenham carry on fighting again in the second half, as Kulusevski makes it 4-0 for Spurs. What an amazing shot, and what an amazing goal, as Tottenham Hotspur has now made it 4 in the matchup over Sheffield United. And a nice little counter-attack here from Kulusevski, and there's Kane right there on the counter-attack, and then all the way to Kulusevski, and then Kulusevski shoots, and now it's 5-0 to Tottenham. Unbelievable finish, and an unbelievable goal right there for Tottenham now to make it 5 in the match. And I've got to say, obviously, Kulusevski deserves that match ball hat-trick he scored in the matchup over Sheffield United. Absolutely perfect, obviously, for him to do nicely in the match to score 3. And there you have it, the whistle blows at full time, as Spurs 5, Sheffield United 0 at this afternoon. And then obviously, however, a nice good counter-attack here from Erling Haaland here from Man City, as City got themselves that first, let's say, opening goal in the matchup. What a hit on his weak foot into that bottom corner for the Norwegian striker, as Haaland, of course, makes it 1-0 in the game. What a finish. And I've got to say, a massive perfect goal, I've got to say, from the Norwegian, as Haaland there makes it 1-0 to Man City. And the whistle blows, of course, for full time, as Manchester City have guaranteed their first league win of the season, by the way, in the first matchup of the Premier League campaign, as Erling Haaland was the only man on the score sheet in the matchup who won them the game here over Wolverhampton Wanderers. But as of the matchup here for this afternoon's game, it ends Wolves 0, Man City 1 at full time. And then obviously the team from West London, Chelsea, playing against South London side Crystal Palace, as a goal there from Enzo Fernandez within the first 5 minutes in the game. He put that ball right into the bottom corner, as now Chelsea, of course, lead the game by 1-0 in the match. And then Chelsea carried on fighting, of course, and Lukaku had the ball here for Chelsea, and he hit that ball right past the goalkeeper of Dean Henderson, as Chelsea FC now extend it to make it 2-0 in the game. And in the 15 minutes played so far in the matchup, Lukaku did amazingly right there. He had a chance to shoot, and he did it nicely into the top corner. And now Chelsea, of course, extend the lead by 2-0 in the match. And the whistle, of course, blew in the matchup here at Stamford Bridge, as Chelsea, of course, guaranteed a massive win, of course, over Crystal Palace in the matchup. And yeah, superb football, of course, between obviously Chelsea and also Palace, especially Lukaku on the score sheet also in the game. Really summed things up, of course, over Crystal Palace. But the full-time score of the matchup here at full-time, as it ends Chelsea 2, Palace 0 at the end of the match. And now hold the ball there to Ryan Yates, and then he found an opportunity to cross the ball into the box to Chris Wood. He head that ball into the back of the net, as what an amazing finish right there from Wood to really score himself that goal to make it 1-0 for Forest in the match. And then Brentford got themselves that goal back in the matchup against Nottingham Forest. They are back in the Premier League for the first time since 1999. And they made a good start to the game, Forest, though. But Wissa shot, saved by Sells. And then Shade got himself that goal, the Danish player for Brentford, to make sure Brentford get themselves level in the matchup. And looks like Nottingham Forest's return back to the Premier League party might be sport right there by Brentford in the matchup so far. And then a chance, of course, from obviously Brentford in the matchup as Damsgaard's shot saved right there from the goalkeeper, and the ball bounced to his own net, by the way, to make it 2-1 in the matchup as Mikael Damsgaard shot, save, bounce from the hands of Sells, and now the score now is 2-1 to Brentford in the match. A real bad ending, of course, for Nottingham Forest in the matchup. They obviously lost the game by 2-1 against Brentford. Brentford, of course, we know that for them, it's very, very, very big for them, of course, to get that result against Nottingham Forest, a team who obviously got promoted from the playoffs last season in the Championship, get themselves back in the Premier League for the first time since 1999, and they lost their first game in the top flight of British football by 2-1 over Brentford. And then obviously they hold the ball, and then Dominic Calvert-Lewin, and then obviously Tanaka all the way to Dan James to Arison, all the way there to Lucas McKenkia, and he puts that ball right into the back of the net as Leeds United have scored just before half-time. What an amazing goal right there from Lucas McKenkia in the first game of the Premier League season. And the full-time whistle officially blew in the matchup, by the way, for Leeds United as they've got themselves that guaranteed 1-0 victory over Everton. Absolutely marvellous, absolutely fantastic, of course, as Lucas McKenkia, of course, was the only guy who scored the goal for Leeds to get themselves their first 3 points at the start of the Premier League season, as it ends in the matchup as Leeds 1, Everton 0.
So let's remind you of the results from the opening weekend of the Premier League season. Liverpool off to a flying start, Tottenham impressive, Newcastle strong at home, and a goalless draw between Manchester United and Arsenal at Old Trafford. That leaves Liverpool leading the early table on goal difference ahead of Tottenham, Newcastle and Chelsea, all with 3 points after day one. Manchester United and Arsenal sit mid-table after their stalemate, while down at the bottom, Sheffield United and Bournemouth have work to do after tough opening fixtures. Next weekend, it doesn't get any easier. Champions Manchester City host Tottenham Hotspur, live right here on Sky Sports. And that just about does it from us here on Super Sunday. A fascinating opening weekend. Plenty of goals, drama and more still to come this season. From Andy Gray and all of us here, thanks for joining us. We'll see you next week for more Premier League action, live on Sky Sports. Good night.